Antoinette's the boss, get it straight and remember that. I just don't miss, cause I ain't a friend of that. Scallywag, that time to get Harry had. Don't get upset, home girl, just get mad. You're a lightweight, so it's easy to...
On Who's the Boss, you know, you also worked with a lot of like phenomenal people like Said G from Ultramagnetic, Miss Master Ice, TFO. So with Here She Comes with Said G, what was, you know, his particular thing that he brought to what you were doing, would you say?
I think that he was a great producer, great. And he was in the Bronx, that's where I was from, but we were also label mates. So he wasn't someone I knew ahead of time or that we hung out or anything like that. It was set up by the record company to basically saying that it says it's going to produce a song on the album. And same thing with Ultramagnetic on the, not Ultramagnetic, Mantronics on the second album. It was like Mantronics is going to produce something. So I basically set up a time and I went over, you know, to his house. And we started talking, we started vibing, and he was playing music or whatever, and we figured it out and we just got it done. But I think he's extremely talented. And I think he definitely, you know, he made that work. It was like a match made in heaven. Even though we didn't know each other, the chemistry was there, everything flourished. And from what I understand, especially like overseas, a lot of people love that song. Wow. Because it wasn't one that I would even go and perform. Because I didn't know, you know, especially with me walking away from hip hop, it was like I was there and then poof, I vanished. Right? So a lot of people don't understand that part. I was like, well, what happened to her? I didn't get played out. I walked away. You know, and all of that stuff happened because if I can't be who I am, why am I here? I'm getting ripped off because of a bogus contract. You're trying to change my image and make me what I'm not. How about I just go get an education and make money another way?
Well, speaking of that, with Burning at 20 Below, that was one of the ironies in retrospect after reading All That Glitters with the I Wanna Be Me song. Because I didn't, of course, know you personally or know what was going on in your life at the time. But when I heard it and then, or when I remembered the song, when I was reading All That Glitters, I was like, oh, that's a rather ironic song. So with I Wanna Be Me, was that kind of like, I don't know, cry for help might be too strong, but was that like, yo, I'm trying to do this my way and it's not working, or where did that come from?
You know, like you said, a cry for help might be too strong, but it's in line with the thought process. It's like, who has the right to tell you who or what you should do or who or what you should become? Everybody should have the liberty to choose that for themselves. I mean, sometimes we'll get knocked down, sometimes we'll stumble and fall, but it's our life to live. It's like encourage, support, and uphold. But that's just the way the industry was. I mean, nowadays, people are who they are. And these kids are making money hand over fist just being who they are. Right? I mean, and not even just when it comes to hip hop, but in anything. I mean, you have people that are stars on social media for small silliness. You know, but it's who they are. And that's the whole thing. It's like allow people to be themselves and people will gravitate towards them naturally. When you try to make somebody into what they're not, who can appreciate somebody that's phony? I mean, for me, I've always been real, so it's hard for me to take something fake, you know, and try to say, oh, that's real. And that person's a real person and, you know, I'm down with them. I'm a ride or die, and I only ride and die for the people that I believe in and I support because they're grounded and they stand for what they truly believe, what they feel and who they truly are, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I Want to Be Me was just that. It's like, you know, why do I have to be what you want me to be? And it's funny because you caught it, but it flew over so many people's heads. And even back then, the people who should have understood just didn't get it.
Well, it's good to laugh now, even though I know it's not coming from a place of fun. But back to Who's the Boss for a minute, because there's so much great material on there. The Girl Is Off on Her Own is another one of my favorites because of how it's faster and there's so much scratching on there. So I wanted you to talk about when, because throughout your career, and I Want to Be Me is a good example of this compared to Who's the Boss or I Got an Attitude, and then This Girl Is Off on Her Own, because one of the things that was so impressive to me about you was your ability to rap over so many different types of beats, whether that's the type of sample, the speed, the tempo, scratching, no scratching, love song, whatever. And so with the Girls Off on Our Own, since it was faster and since it had so much scratching, do you remember approaching it differently at all, writing it, or how it felt or flowing?
At that time, I think Kane had came out with Set It Off. So it was like, it was fast. And I was like, I could do that. And I think that I was just competitive when it came to like guys. You know, that was my competition. My whole life was like, yo, if they can do that, I could do that too. And it was like, let me just showing people that I'm versatile, that I can do so many things. So of course, everything comes to the 1, 2, 3, 4. If it goes fast, I go fast. If it goes slow, I'm going slow. You know? So, but it was along those lines of like a kind of set it off type thing.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And it wasn't too far after, I guess. So
Right.
That's cool. And since Next Plateau didn't want you to respond, but then you did do Lights Out, Party's Over, what, when that song came out, how was the reception since it was not more immediate? Like,
I think that it wasn't truly embraced the way that in the manner that it should have been, because MC Lyte went on to continue to release other songs, and it was just too late. So it made it seem as if I came out with the album with the song on my album about MC Lyte. People had forgotten about 10% This. 10% This didn't. It was a song that people liked, but people didn't associate it with me, a lot of people. So to them, it's like, well, where is this coming from? Why are you coming at Lyte? Why are you attacking her? And she became the innocent one, and she was the victim, and I was the victimizer, as opposed to understanding that it was the other way around. And I think a lot of times when you have like this bully show up, people side with the person that's being bullied. Because, and I don't care what anybody says, and I'm just keeping it real, rhyme for rhyme, round for round, no haps, Jack. It's not gonna happen. Never, ever, never. It won't. To today, I'm just being honest. It won't happen. Because I know my talent. I know what I bring. I know what I can do. I know what I can't. I listen to music. I'm a lover of music. And the truth of the matter is, it's no wins, hands down. I don't care what anybody says. They can say whatever they want. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's mine.
Fair enough. Now, throughout your career, I had reviewed back in the day the CRU album for The Source when that came out.
Wow.
So I knew the name Yogi Bear from being on your albums and working with you, and even being in the Who's the Boss video, or ID. So over the years, since you guys had done so much, starting with Who's the Boss, at least to my knowledge, what made you guys work so well from your stuff to then getting on the CRU album?
Well, the truth of the matter is I had walked away and he found me. I hadn't spoken to Yogi in years. And I'm not exactly sure how he did, but he found me and he asked me to just do like a cameo on this album that they were doing. And I was, because of the fact he was like my brother from back then, I was like, oh, definitely, you know, and I came through for him and I just went, I laid the verse. I mean, I was one take. It was done. It was like, okay. And that was it. So I never performed with him, never did anything else, because they never really promoted that particular song. And when you have a song like the Dirty 30 and you have 30 songs on one thing, it's easy to get lost. You know what I mean? If you're not promoting that particular one.
Right.
And interestingly enough, I actually hooked back up with him probably like a year ago. And he's producing another song for me now.
Oh.
So it's interesting because, you know, he went on to produce a lot of good songs.
Oh, yeah.
And he was working with Puffy at one point in time also, and he produced some stuff for him as well.
No, that's an excellent album. I remember when I got the chance to review it, I was excited because it's one of those songs, because at that point, compared to 89, 90, rap had gotten so much popular, much more popular 5 or 6 years later by the time CRU was coming out. But I feel like it kind of got lost in the shuffle despite its, there's a lot of great material on there. Yes.
So you remember, I'm sorry, here I go. But do you remember when they said hip hop was a fad?
I do. I remember that.
And it was going to come and it was going to go. And then people started, you know, coming back saying hip hop is a way of life. It's not, it's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. And I was just thinking while I'm talking to you that hip hop has smashed down so many barriers. It's incredible. I don't think that there has been any other, and I'm just going to say genre of music because they put you up there, hip hop is a genre of music, that has broken down the barriers. And I'm talking about racial barriers. I'm talking about everything. When you look at these kids today together, that's hip hop.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's just so interesting to me. And nowadays, there's so much stuff out there. I don't know what's what. Like I have my two younger children. One listens to stuff that I can understand. The other one listens to stuff that I don't. I have no idea what they're saying. But at the same time, you have to appreciate the artistry in both, because the truth of the matter is, it bothers me when I hear old school, new school, this school, that school, because there's a bridge, and that bridge is respect, right? I remember one time I'm in the car driving, and my son's in the back seat with one of his friends, and he's saying, Eminem's the GOAT. Eminem's GOAT. So I said, he is. I said, you ever heard of Rakim? You heard of this one? You heard of that? I'm naming names. And he's like, nah. And I said, well, then, I said, you don't know hip hop. And you know what he said to me? Well, mommy, you never taught me. Wow. Smack me right in my face with the truth, right? So my thing is, we want these young people to respect, but do they know the history? People don't know what they don't know. How can I teach you who I am if all I'm telling you is that that was the real hip hop and your stuff is fake? Automatically you're defensive, and you're saying, look, so go sit down, old man, old lady, go have a seat, go have 3 seats. That's what you're telling me. But when I take you by the hand and say, let me teach you something, let me school you, let me show you the history from then till now that has enabled a lot of these young rap artists to become millionaires, right? It started somewhere. Somebody was getting jerked. Right. Somebody, had to sleep in the street sometimes. It was like there was so much that was going on, period. And with the different groups and stuff that came up, I don't know, not too many people do know, but Lady Luck, Lady Luck. Yep. That's my cousin, right? Sylvia Robinson, that's my family. That's Sugar Hill Records, right? And it's not like they put out some great material, but they did some crazy stuff, right? So the artists I'm talking about as far as getting paid and all of that.
Or not getting
paid. So, but my thing is, that's all history though. And that's all from when I grew up having a passion to do something, but had no business savvy. Didn't know that I had to make a living off of it. All I wanted to do was showcase my talent because it's just what I loved. And I just wanted to express myself. And I wanted people to know my name and to like my stuff. To sitting back and saying, this is a lucrative business. Somebody's making money hand over fist. I can take care of my family. I can build up my community. I can do so much more. Although sometimes I see nonsense that's going on. I mean, money's being spent instead of people understanding, and that's still being taught, right? So if you don't have financial literacy taught to you, you're not going to know it. And so like these young people are deprived of so much sometimes, I think. And I know I'm going all over the place, but I like to do that sometimes. So I'm going to pull it back and turn it back over to you.
Well, no, I think it's important to say these things because just mentioning a few of the people we've mentioned, and I'll add a few others. If you don't know Big Daddy Kane or Rakim or Grandmaster Caz or Kumo D or Easy AD or a lot of the artists that, even before your time,
yes,
they're phenomenal. And if you look at their rhymes and their wordplay and then the routines of the Cold Crush or the Treacherous Three or whoever you want to look at, that stuff is very intricate and it's amazing, regardless of what they were talking about. And,
it's true.
That's why, The Girl Is Off on Her Own, to me, that's one of my favorite songs because not only does it have the scratching, which is a whole thing that's been eliminated from history now.
Sure.
But beyond that is that you're rapping faster and you're still doing it in a way that sounds effortless to where, as you know, a lot of people get into one groove and that's all they do. You know, they don't,
Right.
they're not diverse. And to me, that's where the educational thing is. Like, I have a 10-year-old daughter. So when I don't play her stuff that has much or any profanity, but when I'll play her different things, she can hear like, oh, wow, this guy does it like this, or this woman does it like this. And she can see the difference of listening to Schoolie D or Tribe Called Quest or Gangster by D.O.C she loves, or Cinderfella by Dane. But she can hear these stories, and then she can see the stuff that's fun and that it's not a fad. You know, it's been here since the 70s and it still is stronger than ever, bigger than ever. And that's the thing.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
There's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.